Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome, everybody, into the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Rumblings vidcast network, presented by Picasso's Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day. Picasso's, we are Buffalo Pizza, shipping local and nationwide. Order online at picassospizza.net. It's so good to have you. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. I'm the host of this year's show, and that over there is the co-host,
JSpenceTheKing. I got it this time. I got it. I was on point. You didn't trick me. I thought you were going to trick me. You didn't do it. Hump Day. It is Hump Day.
Hump. Mike. Do you know what day it is? Spence?
It's Thanksgiving Eve.
It is Thanksgiving Eve, and it is Hump Day as well. So do us a favor, whatever platform you are watching, consuming, listening to, hump that like. Also subscribe. We are Super Chat Live, so if you want to get a comment, question, or if you want to just be a part of the show, do us a favor and jump on that Super Chat button. But what we want to do is we want to have a special Hump Day collaboration. And with that, as you saw on the title slide, if you saw the advertisement for this, we are bringing in the three-man rush, folks. So I would like to welcome to the show Big O, whose microphone is muted, and Sarah. Sarah, how are you?
I'm good. I'm still chilling in Detroit. I'm at a friend's house with lots of good food, so hanging out.
Wait, is the food better than Buffalo food?
It is. I mean, it's homemade, like mac and cheese and greens and turkey and some sweet potatoes. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good.
Jerry O, Big O, how you feeling?
Good. Little public service announcement. If you are over the age of 25, you're not allowed to go to the club tonight. Stay home. Only 25 and younger can be at the bars tonight. At least that's what I've been told by my kids anyway. So no, I'm doing great.
I feel like that's good advice though, Jerry, because every time I go out and every time, like all this season when we've gone out at these pre-tailgates like the night before and stuff, like I'm no good at the game the next day. So I'm thinking that you got some good advice there.
I am perfectly fine on game day after drinking the night before.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We got
the whole room knows. The whole room knows at this point.
Somebody called their shot, man.
We got some stories.
Jerry dropped some muffins at the Kansas City tailgate, and I saved them though. So Jerry had too much to drink at that tailgate.
Never.
The best.
Baltimore was rough on Sarah. I'm gonna just tell you.
Yes, Baltimore was very, very rough.
The best Jerry Ostroski story I have at the Kansas City game was Jerry cooking away on the grill, and I don't know at what point, but at some point, a lot of people had made it around our tailgate. Kenny was just a couple away. The Springfield Bills backers were just a couple away, but there was just a mass of people around us. But Jerry's sitting there cooking away, and this dude walks up to Jerry and goes, "You're a big old boy. Did you ever play football?" And Jerry's obliged him. "I sure did." Where did you play? Where did you play? Tulsa, and for the Bills. You played for the Bills?
Yeah, move on, Junior. Move on. But no, there was that, and then the other one was the proclamation of, "I came to the game, we won, thank you. You're welcome."
That was amazing.
I'm
coming
going
out
home now.
We're all back at the tailgate after the game, and that was Jerry. Out of the darkness, you hear Jerry's voice. "I came, we won, you're welcome." It was amazing. Speaking of wins, big win this past weekend in Detroit, which is where Sarah is, pointing in that direction down there. I'm not used to doing, but exactly.
It's
Again,
easy for me.
Yeah, that would be trippy if you had to point up the point down against the Cleveland Browns. And as we kind of put that game, I should say, to bed, right? How are we feeling at this point? Jerry, how are you feeling about that game now that it's 3 days past, yada, yada, yada?
I'm feeling pretty good about it. Like I said the other day, I think that, they had a little bit of adversity. I know you would think it's not a big deal changing plans like they did, but it was. And not only that, I think the thing they overcame was the illness during the week, the limited practice schedule. You saw it in the first three drives were 3 and outs. They didn't look very crisp. Then they got things going and they got that W. So I think with everything that went on, you get a win. People need to be happy.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Spence, what do you think?
Well, Jerry and I actually talked about this yesterday on Code of Conduct, and I'm a little on the negative side of things. I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like Josh is in his head. He's not playing Josh Allen football that we're used to seeing, and I'm also just a little concerned with some of the injuries that we have on defense. You know, with Tremaine, everybody knows how I feel about Tremaine. So with Tremaine being out tomorrow, that's no good for me. With you know, I don't know. I want to see us get back to dominating games. So like the first few weeks of the season spoiled me. And right now I just don't feel as spoiled. I feel like, you know, they got me on the edge of my seat and I don't like that crap, man. Like go out and destroy teams.
That's absolutely true. Sarah, how are you feeling? There's not a hangover. You're kind of still hung in there. So
Yeah.
you're still in
Yeah. I
Detroit.
mean, I'll be honest, the first quarter and a half, I mean, I don't think we had a first down until about 7 minutes left in the second quarter. So being there, I felt like we were playing terrible. I was in my own feelings. I wasn't, you know, I kind of thought we were playing worse than we actually were. Now that I've rewatched the game, now that I've rewatched it, there was parts that I'm picking and choosing now to see, like, okay, flashes, but Singletary and Cook just coming alive, and Knox. I mean, Knox was 7 of 7, so that makes me happy because, you know, he needs to get those targets in order to be able to contribute. So it made me happy to see that, and I rewatched the game today, and like I said, I feel a little bit better now that I've rewatched the game.
I've had a crazy, incredibly busy week. I had that whole, I want to lay low. I'm going to lay low the 3 days before Thanksgiving, and then lost the lay low lottery at work. Like I've just been, everything that could go wrong went wrong as far as work wise this week. So I did not get a chance to watch the game back, but I've got a pretty good emotional mindset of where I felt. And I would slightly disagree with you, Sarah. There was nothing overly redeemable in that first quarter and a half.
No, not the first quarter and a half. I mean, the rest of the game.
Naheem Hines kept our
There you go.
fannies in that football game by providing the Bills field position, the Bills offense field position. Go ahead.
No, finish your thought. I just want you to know I got something when you're done. I
Well,
got something.
It's a long thought, so I'll abbreviate in a second. So he provided the Bills field position because the offense was trash and had a really hard time that first quarter. I mean, they had the ball for 5 minutes in the first quarter. It was not great, and the Bills defense couldn't stop anybody. But Naheem Hines did a great job of providing us opportunities. Complimentary football. Go ahead, Spence.
No, I just wanted to say I'm officially retiring my love for Andre Roberts. And now I am officially committed to Naheem Hines over the next couple of seasons. So my special teams, you know, man crush is Naheem Hines. So Andre Roberts, you can rest in retirement in peace, and I won't call in your ghost of Bill's time or whatever. I'm good with Naheem Hines. If we traded a 4th round draft pick for a good special teams punt and kickoff return, I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm happy, especially if Devin Singletary and James Cook is doing what they're doing, running the ball. I don't need Hines to get involved in the run. I do want to see him as a slot receiver. We don't have to talk about that yet. We can talk about it later.
Yeah.
But if he's here just for special teams and he's going to give us what he gave us this past week, Andre, go ahead and relax, man. I love you, man.
Yeah. And Joe, just to clarify, I was into the fourth quarter still saying, what in the hell are we doing? So when I say I mean, I felt like we were playing terrible the whole time. At one point I looked up, I was like, how do we have 31 points? Like how, you know, and then I had to like sit there. Holy crap. We had 6 field goals.
6 field goals. There was one point, I don't remember which field goal it was in the fourth quarter, where I looked at McKenna and I was like, that's the game. They can't come back from this. Like I knew that we had I think we were 3 possessions up, just barely 3 possessions up at that point in time, before the last field goal. But it went from me being like, okay, like the season's over. Like that's where we're at. Josh Allen, and I said this on the Phoenix show, is like taking the snap and peeking at the defense to see who's coming before he's like going through his progressions, which is never where you want to be as a professional quarterback. You never, not only is it bad for just the routes and the timing and everything else, but when the guys like Jerry watch that back on the film, it says, this dude doesn't trust me at all. Like, right. So it went from that and just not being able to execute anywhere but, like I said, special teams, to, oh, thank God, like I'm beginning to see the team that I'm used to seeing. Josh's, I feel like that touchdown that he threw to Stephon Diggs at the end of the half was almost like the door opening. Not that we didn't do anything still in the red zone. The red zone was still a problem, but there was a great deal of, I felt like he got a little bit of his swag back. Anybody want to bite on that?
Yeah, it was like a collective sigh of relief. Like I think from both Stephon Diggs and for Josh, I think, and you know, I think it let out in the stadium. Like everyone was like, finally, you know, so I think that's what kind of set us up for the second half.
Yeah, for sure.
And Jessica says that the Bills scored on 7 straight drives in the game. And I agree that obviously I'm a little negative this week. However, the thing is, well, no, but you got to understand, I don't want to win games by kicking field goals. We scored 19 points with field goals. I'm the guy that I want to see us, you know what I mean? Like, I want to see Josh Allen finish the drive off. And I know we got the one to Steph, but even that one, it just looked weird. Like Steph was wide open. Josh threw it and he fell himself. Like, he tripped over his own legs. And then he's just like, I don't know. Something just seems off. And I don't know.
He commented on that on Kyle Brandt's basement. I don't know if you got to listen or watch that episode, because Kyle was making fun of him a little bit in a good way on Monday, just about how hard he threw the football. It was like it was a segment that they did on highlights. And he basically said when he took the snap and he said, everybody's got that concept, that route concept in their offense. It's not like it's something unique to the Bills, but Steph came free. And when Steph came free, he's like, I wanted to make sure. So I basically threw the ball as hard as I could. He said, and when I'm rolling to my left, he said, the amount of openness that I have to get to make that throw basically puts your feet in an awkward position. And he goes, and I tried to dot him, is what he said. And he did, right? He goes, so when I released it, my foot stuck and it just kind of knocked me and I rolled over backwards, which was the description that he gave. Now, whether or not you buy that,
I feel like something's off. I brought up that one play, but because I'm saying, like, even the play that we scored, it didn't look like the chemistry was what we're used to seeing. Like, normally it's a sexy connection, you know, like Josh just go ahead and he flicks it out there and digs. It looks pretty. Nothing about that game looked pretty. We won, so that's pretty. Yeah. But nothing about the game looked pretty to me. So, you know, there is some concern for me. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Big O. Big O.
Do we not take into consideration what they went through this past week?
I don't.
Do we really not? This is like therapy to me. This is like therapy.
Josh hasn't practiced in 2 weeks. Josh hasn't practiced in 2 weeks.
Right. We won. And it's like, I feel like we're like getting ready to pick first. Like, we're going to be in the lottery to get the first pick of the draft. Like, this is crazy to me. And I'm like, it's like, Josh, that touchdown to Diggs was no style. It was horrible. And I get what you're saying.
I'm not saying it's horrible. I'm not saying it's horrible. I'm saying we scored. And that was fine. But what I'm saying is the offense didn't flow the way you expect an offense to coming into this season. Everybody's like, oh, this Bill. And right now, I get it. We're second in the league, you know, but we're not second in the league over the last 4 weeks.
Right.
We're second in the league because of the first half of the season. Those first 5 games, we blew teams out so much that now we had some catching up to do. So now we're in second place. That's scary to me. We were ahead by a country mile, and all of a sudden we're second place behind Kansas City. I don't like it. And then on top of, again, you're right. We won the game. We're 7-3, but we're 7-3 and we're behind the Miami Dolphins. We're 7-3 and we lost to the New York Jets. So you know, I hear you, but my expectations now aren't the Buffalo Bills with EJ Manuel at quarterback. My expectations now, look, we're making the playoffs 4 out of 5 years with Sean McDermott. We made it to the AFC Championship. We lost to Kansas City with 13 seconds left. Now I'm like, man, damn that. I'm ready to win. So I want the number 1 seed in the conference. I guess I know I'm being nitpicky. I get it, but it's like when we're not ending drives with touchdowns and we're ending against the Cleveland Browns at that.
I think I said it on the Overreaction postgame show on Sunday, and the line that I said was, it's difficult to sit on your couch or in the stands, Sarah, and watch this team perform the way they perform when you know how good they are and how good they can be. And I think that's what Spence is trying to say, Jerry. The question I would have, and I think the biggest problem with so there's 2 different issues with the offense. There's the between the 20s, and then there's
the red zone. Is you guys talk about the red zone. I agree with that. I think that's where they're offensively they're having issues, and it's red zone.
It's Josh Allen.
And
they're not rushing. The threat of his legs is gone. And it's not gone because he can't run. The threat of his legs is gone because they don't run him inside the 20 anymore, which basically changes the way the defense plays you. Yes.
But why? Why do you not? And we had this conversation last night, Spence and I. You can't change what this guy is.
Right.
You can't do it. You have to let him play. If he wants to run, you got to let him run. You got to get him in the game. He's a guy that's about flow and feel, and let him make plays with his feet. He's not getting hurt outside the pocket, everybody. He's getting hurt in the pocket.
That's right.
When he runs, he is the person delivering the blow. He's not taking anything. That's why he runs violent for a quarterback. I think it's beautiful. Yeah. Let the guy make plays. Why do we try to make people, why do we try to change guys' style of play when they've done this to get where they are. That's one thing I don't get.
Yeah, I would push back a little bit. So Josh has been injured 3 times, twice with the elbow, once with his shoulder. The elbow both times in the pocket, his shoulder, he was outside the pocket. He was trying to get away in the Raiders game in 2020 and hurt his left shoulder. But to your point, there's statistics out there that prove that most quarterbacks do not get injured in the pocket. Or outside the pocket, they get injured in the pocket, to your point. Mm-hmm. So talk about the good stuff. So let's turn this to our first topic of the show, which is that, the Buffalo Bills did a great job. They found some success, some synergy. They found some ability to run with both Singletary and Cook in what is seemingly a little bit of a different run scheme than maybe what we're used to. We saw it the week before a little bit against the Jets running the draw, and the Bills found success in it in this game with both players. And Cook, to me, finally looked like the game wasn't too big for him. Like, because wildly for me, he just looked a little bit like, whoa, there's some big fast dudes in this league, and I don't know what I'm doing right now. So it was nice to see that. But both of them tallying, I think, over 85 yards. I've got 80 yards in the
86.
Yeah.
86 each.
The question is, and I would love any one of you that want to go first, Sarah, maybe, is it sustainable what we saw this past weekend? Can we do it again against the Lions?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of made a comment on another show. I felt like once they, and I feel terrible saying the word dumb it down for Cook, but once they stopped passing him those little dump off passes after the first quarter, it seemed like it just clicked for him. It was get the ball and run, go forward, and find your holes and go, and stop with these little cutesy little, passes. And he just seemed so confused in the first quarter to the point where Josh was like, go here, do this. And I was just like, what is going on? Get him off the field. At one point, I was like, don't play him. If he doesn't know what's being called, if he doesn't understand the play, get him off the field. But once they stopped doing it and they just gave him the ball and he ran, he was a different guy. And that was when we were like, this is the James Cook that we drafted. And, to see him and Singletary, I know Singletary didn't have as many, yards per carry, but to have them both walk away with, 86 yards each, it's what we need. And I think that, the offensive line did a really good job as well. So I'm looking forward to us continuing. I like not seeing Josh have to put it all on his shoulders, but I still wish we would have involved him a little bit more in the run game. Just a little bit. I enjoy watching Josh do that.
Yeah,
I agree with Sarah. Well, I agree with Sarah. First, I was just I was throwing the Tracy comment up. Pay Poyer, pay my dog. He deserves it. But I'm agreeing with Sarah. The yards per carry for me with Singletary, it matters, but it doesn't matter as much because, like, when you watch that game, he made plays at the moment that we needed it, and he was, it's like he always runs bigger than he is, and he always seems to. It's like he turns a 1 yard gain into 4. He turns a 3 yard gain into 7. And it's just one of those things where consistently, like every week now, since I want to say maybe like week 7, week 6, he's just been you can tell that something is clicking with him. And it's like, get this guy the ball. And I'm going to disagree a little bit with Sarah when it comes to James Cook, because I feel like early in the season, we were seeing a confused James Cook. And maybe in the first quarter, it was kind of like the things, the plays might not have been communicated properly or whatever. But what I feel like we saw throughout the rest of the game, I feel like we're finally seeing, like you mentioned, the James Cook that we saw in college and like the person that we drafted. And I always hear players say the game finally started to slow down for me.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can literally see it slowing down for him, and he's faster than everybody on the defense. And look, man, if they continue to feed this guy the ball, it is going to be a problem for defenses come, end of season and playoffs. That's what we need.
Yeah,
that's what we need. Big O, what you real quick? I want to ask him as far as offensive line play though, because it's a different. The tempo is a switch up between Singletary and Cook. So when you have those guys coming in, and now you got Cook being shot out of a cannon basically, and then you have Singletary that's kind of like the ground and pound. How is that a little bit, what changes as far as how the offensive line kind of communicates and plays when those guys come in and out?
Well, I think it has to do a lot with theory. Okay, so like if you have a guy that is a downhill dude that is a 1 foot in the ground and go like Cook is, that is like you want to run pin and pull, you want to run stretch plays, things like that, plays where he can go and try to outrun blocker or outrun tacklers, things like that. Singletary is more patient. He can kind of hang, cut behind the guard. He's a little bit of a zone runner when it comes to those types of things. when I look at us offensive line wise, I think we're a scheme 'em up type of offensive line. I don't think we're the Cowboys of days with Larry Allen and Mark Tuinei and Eric Williams, where we're going to line up and you go, I'm going to put 9 guys in the box, and we're still going to run zone and move you, right? I think we're really, really good. And the Kansas City game kind of showed it. We ran some pin and pull stuff where Morse was pulling outside. We were down. We had 2 guys pulling outside, some pin and pull concept. We like to run counter. We like to run power. We're much more of a scheme type gap running team, I believe, offensive line wise and back wise, as opposed to running the old school, elephant dance, 2 butt cheeks together, and you got this guy, you got then just try to waltz our way down the field. So I think that while and Joe had made a comment about getting on John about running the draw play and the draw play being successful, that's why I think the draw play is successful, because we can scheme stuff up with the draw, with those things, because of how we play offense and some of the calls we make. So if we ever have to go out and they say, okay, you're going to have to physically move this defense play after play, not sure we're going to be very good at that. But, man, these guys can run. They're athletic. They can pass pro. So when you get them out in open space running, we can make plays.
Yeah, the question is it sustainable, right? Was this the sum of playing against a bad Browns rush defense? Is this about the offensive line potentially finally getting it? Is it about, something else that's going on scheme wise? And that's the question. I wanted to go before him because he's kind of like the offensive line expert. So I'm glad that you didn't take my thunder, because I was nervous about that. But is there, from what you're seeing, is what they're trying to accomplish, can they replicate it against good defenses? Yeah, so I know that your offense ran the draw play almost at will with Thurman. But there was a great deal of such a pass-heavy offense back then in that day, right? And guys pinning their ears back, coming to get Jim, and then Jim would just go, bloop, hand it to Thurman, and he'd run right past the rushers. Now, the Bills haven't really traditionally done that in this offense, and again, against the Jets, it didn't work at all the couple times they did it. The draws, generally speaking, a play that teams run when they're 3rd and 17, 3rd and 21. Well, we've got Josh Allen, who's going to throw the ball 25 yards when they're 3rd and 21 and complete it. So the Bills don't really run that, but that's what a lot of teams do. So the question is, if it's 2nd and 4, is this a sustainable play for the Bills?
Well, it has been for the last couple of years. The problem is it hasn't been the tailback running. It's been Josh Allen. I mean, we've ran quarterback draw quite a bit. They changed it up. They went ahead and gave it to the tailback. So kudos to Dorsey and the rest of the staff for doing that. The thing I like about quarterback draw is I'm a big add guy. I want to add a blocker. So if I can add a back to block and be a lead blocker for my quarterback on the draw, I'm all for it. But I think it is good that they switched it up a little bit. Yeah, it is sustainable. But the biggest thing is when you run draw plays, it's got to be against athletic type defensive linemen, okay? You can't run a draw. Like we try to run a draw against Tim Bowens and Daryl Gardner when Miami back in the day. You got 365 and 340. They're not going anywhere.
They're slow.
So you can So A, you can't move them, or B, they're just going to stand there. Yeah, they're going to, like Ted Washington played the draw better than anybody. That's because Ted stood there like, oh, here comes the draw.
He'd hold 3 guys and then
exactly. Same thing with the screen. So I think they took what Cleveland does on defense, which is get upfield and get after you, and took it to their advantage. So they schemed that up probably a little bit more than normal.
The hard part about what you're saying, and it's not hard because it's bad, it's hard because it's good. When Josh Allen begins to run those plays and take over the game, you see it affect the defense. The defense is like, you see them begin to wilt. They're just like, we got to stop him running too. And then they begin to focus on stopping him running. And then he starts throwing lasers down the field. And then they adjust to that and then he starts running the ball again. I just don't even know what the answer is. I mean, Spence, do we protect this guy? Do we not protect this guy? Do we let him just be him?
I mean, yeah, I just wanted to know why you apologized to me. I didn't.
Oh, I thought you were about to say something.
No, I'm just out here, man. Why'd you apologize?
I thought you were about to speak and I spoke over you. So yeah.
But yeah, you let everybody. I think what everybody here is saying is basically what we've known from this team, top to bottom. Let the team play. Just let them play. Let these guys be who they are and let everything flow. And especially when we're talking about offensively, like Josh, and you talk about the running backs, and you talk about, let those guys just be who they are, man. And when they overthink it is when things go wrong. And I feel like that's why I was complaining earlier. I feel like Josh is overthinking it, but no, just let them be who they are. Big O, you had something?
Yeah, and the reason why these quarterback runs work is because the offense is at a disadvantage every time the ball is snapped. Every time. Why are you laughing?
That's my sister.
No, because that's that was Jamie. That's my sister. I love Jamie so much. And Mom's not here tonight, but shout out to Mom.
She's upstairs.
Oh, okay. I got you.
You gotta have her come down and join, man. Say hi.
They're playing family games.
But seriously, the offense is at a disadvantage every snap because the quarterback takes the ball, and whoever gets the ball from the quarterback, they're already 2 guys down. So it is 9 versus 11 every snap. But if I get the quarterback involved in the run game, it's 10 versus 11. So my numbers are better, and you have a better chance. That's why I like the quarterback run game.
No, I do too. There's just an aspect of like we want to see this kid play for another 15 years. Right. I don't want to Cam Newton him. I don't, you know what I mean? Like he's already,
you can't change the way a guy plays.
Yeah.
But can you it's Jim Kelly. I mean, it literally,
I'd like to be 185. I'd like to be 185 and in skinny jeans, but
let me finish. He's not Jim Kelly in the sense of like Jim Kelly was a similar player. What I mean is Jim Kelly was destroyed in the USFL his first 3 years as a quarterback, which is why Jerry watched him retire probably 3-4 years before he should have. His body was just broken at that point in time.
Well, when I say
all the good offensive linemen were in the NFL, not in the USFL.
That's exactly right.
Well, touche. John Fina and
except Kent Hall. Kent Hall was in the USFL.
Yes, thank you.
But when I say and I just kind of pause on that thought about Jim Kelly and all that, I know you didn't mean that they play similar ball,
no,
but the thing is, right? I know you didn't mean that, but the thing is, when you talk about Josh, the thing is, that's literally who he is.
Yeah.
Like he's the guy that he doesn't even feel like he's part of the game until he gets hit once. Or you know what I mean? Like or twice, right? And so the thing is, it's like, look, no, I don't want him to get hit, but at the same time, in the red zone, when we're having red zone issues, why are we not running those quarterback sweeps, or why are we not running those plays where we have 3 guys blocking in front of him and he can gain 15 yards, on a play that typically gains 5?
Yeah.
Like, why are we not running those plays?
Yeah,
that's who he is, and we need to use him that way. I got a question for Sarah about it though, like. Because you've been to every game this year, last year, for the last 80 years, you're at the game, right? So when you're at these games, she looks young, right? but no, when you're watching Josh and you're watching at the game, is it as frustrating for you and the fans at the game? Like, because I feel like in the stadium sometimes when you're watching it on TV, you can almost feel the air sucked out of the stadium every single freaking time he runs the ball. And at home, I know for me, it's just like I want him to run, but it's like, don't run. How is that for you at the stadium? And I know that's like a weird question, but I mean, it's go ahead.
Yeah, and well, that's what I was kind of saying to Joe at the beginning. Is even into the fourth quarter, we felt like we were playing worse than we were, even though we were ahead. And there's just so many times that you're, when Josh does run with the ball, you're like, please don't get hurt. But at the same time, go back to last week when we had 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, 4th and 2, and you're screaming, why are we not running the ball?
Mm-hmm.
So it is, it's frustrating. And then it's almost like it got really quiet at one point in the stadium. And when I rewatched the game, the commentators even said it's really quiet in the stadium right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's because Bills fans didn't know what to if we should be cheering that we were winning because we were kicking a buttload of freaking field goals, or where we should feel like at that point. It wasn't until Singletary and Cook really started getting going that we were like, okay, so this is just a different way of winning. So I drank for for a couple of quarters because it does take it out of you.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think the red zone issues have anything to do with our lack of elite size at receiver?
No, I think it's literally. I think there's and anybody on this panel can correct me. Anybody in the comment section, if you feel like you've got a better reason for what I'm about to say, please chime in because I'd like to hear it. I think the problem between the 20s is Cole Beasley, his absence from this offense. And I think the problem inside the 20 is there's no more threat of Josh Allen running the football. The 17-yard runs that Josh Allen has put in the end zone on 1st and 17, 2nd and 17, 3rd and 17 with his legs makes a defense have to worry about it. And they don't have to worry about it right now. Defenses know that he ain't coming. At 1st and 6, 1st and goal, anywhere inside the 10, he's not coming. So we're just going to hang back and we're going to cover the guys. And again, even inside the 20, Cole Beasley isn't there.
And I get that so many people dislike Cole Beasley for every other reason other than football. I'm not about to get into political talks. I'm not about to get into all of that other stuff. But what I will tell you is I watched a clip today that the NFL posted from last year against the Saints. And the Thanksgiving game against the Saints. I miss Cole Beasley so much in this offense.
Yep.
Like Cole Beasley is that 3rd and 6 automatic 9-yard game.
Right.
He's just, and we don't have that. And I know I'm about to do it again, Joe. I don't want to do it again, but I'm about to do it again.
My mom referenced it today. Man, Spence was really worked up last week.
Isaiah McKenzie just gets under my skin with the amount of mistakes that he makes. And like, I get it. Everybody wanted him to just fill into that role. And we signed him back to a couple-year deal. And it's like, okay, he's not playing for Candy anymore. So he's going to be good in this role. He's going to take over for Cole Beasley. We don't need Cole Beasley and his political whatever it is that he's talking. I tell you what, I would much rather Cole Beasley tweet, Instagram, TikTok, whatever political crap he wants, but still comes out here and gives me a first down on 3rd and 7. Like that's that's the player I need. And right now, what we're getting out of, I'm not going to pick on one player, but what we're getting out of our receivers after Stephon Diggs is not that.
Nope.
I had a whole segment on how bad Gabriel Davis is playing. Like, he had a decent game Sunday. Decent game. He has 17%. Before that game, he dropped 17% of his targets. Coming into that game, he caught 24 passes out of 48 targets. So basically 50% of his targets he's catching. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But this is wide receiver 2.
And he's on the hands team. And
almost Are you kidding me?
And almost
shout out to Taiwan Jones. Shout out to Taiwan Jones.
Who shoved that ball out of bounds. He dove over the defender and shoved that ball out of bounds.
Come on, man.
Great.
Pam says real quick before we move on, no one was talking about Beasley in the first 5 games. So do we only miss him because of Davis not performing? I disagree, but I want to hear your thoughts first. Let's go to Jerry, then Sarah, and then Joe, and then I'll jump in, and then we can move on wherever you want to go.
You know, I think Cole Beasley was fantastic when he played. I think that there's some guys on this team that could step up and take that role. They're just young. I mean, I like Shakur. I think he can play. Obviously, they've had some issues, Bruce, but not Isaac Bruce. So anyway. Yeah, I mean, there seems to be a lack of that guy that is going to get you that 6 yards, like you said, that 5-yard catch at the sticks. Guys are getting an opportunity to take that rollover, but they're not. But I don't know. Maybe that guy still is on the team. We just haven't found him yet. But I don't know. I know people like to. I know Spence is hard on Gabe Davis. I don't have the issue with Gabe. Gabe does need to play better, but I still think he's a good receiver. I really do.
Sarah?
I'm not hard on him. Real quick, I'm sorry. I just want to respond.
Yeah.
I'm not hard on him. I've liked him, and I've tried to make sure I give him all the love that I can. But at the same time, I want to be honest. Like, I don't want to just be that guy where it's like, oh, I'm a Bills fan, so everything that the Bills do is perfect. No,
right.
When you're catching 24 out of 48 passes, you're not wide receiver 2. So that's where I'm at. But I love Gabe Davis. I think obviously he showed up big in that Pittsburgh game. I had nothing to say at the Pittsburgh game. Nothing. But
did they pay Knox to be that guy and he's not coming through?
But why?
They got to target him.
Right. And we talked about that yesterday. They got to target him.
Sarah.
Yeah, I think that if we're talking about the first 5 or 6 games, realistically, he missed a full game and a half, if not almost 2 full games of that. So I don't think it was, we can't really talk about it's just a Gabe Davis thing. He's actually been a little bit better than I thought. I had a conversation on a pod yesterday talking about him, and we were looking up some numbers. His problem is that his drops have been like significant drops. They're like are literally off his hands at the most inopportune times. And that's why I think we're all complaining right now, is because, they're usually third down or, third and victory, I mean, like if he would have caught that pass a couple weeks ago.
Well, no, I was just about to ask you, the New York game, that last play, like in the stands where we were sitting, you couldn't really see how close of a, like how perfect of a pass that was from Josh. But then Sarah, go ahead and take over again. But I mean, like that pass right there, like at the end of the game, Josh threw a perfect pass after injuring his elbow, and it literally hit him right on Joe's face right here. It hit him on Joe's face.
And like off his face mask too. It was like right there. It's how he's, we think we've all had the conversation. It's kind of how he's catching the ball. It seems like his mechanics are off or something lately, but it's like he's kind of clapping to catch the ball. But he was injured, and we gave him the excuses when he came back that he's still nursing the ankle and whatnot. But he actually had a couple of good games here and there. It's just now those, like I said, those drops are becoming an issue because they're at the worst possible time.
Yeah. So to answer Joe, I'll answer Spence's question. To Joe Schmo's question, which I'm not Joe Schmo. That other guy's Joe Schmo. Crowder's on IR and is done for the season and has been since I think week 2 or 3.
Week 3,
week 3. So as far as Pam's question,
Crowder's was, I'm sorry, it was the Baltimore game.
Yeah, the Baltimore game, right? Yeah, so that was week 3, right?
4.
Yeah, week 4. Gotcha.
Yeah, 4. Miami's 3.
So did the Bills miss Cole Beasley in the first 5 weeks? No, because they were running a different offense.
But I still say yes.
But they were. Yes. But in the first 4 to 5 weeks, Josh was going to his right and to his left. They were playing the short game to the flats.
Yep. Right.
Versus finding somebody 3 yards down the field in the hole, somebody that can find the soft spot in the zone and just look at the defense and literally be on this. And Jerry O can speak to this because offense. That Buffalo Bills K-gun offense was the beginning of all the offenses that we see today. That Marchibroda took into the Colts and like developed with Manning, and then all the offensive have kind of developed there. Which is basically the quarterback stands at the line behind center, looks at the defense and makes a read, and the wide receivers have to make a similar read. Like they have options. Right beforehand versus no, I'm running the stick route, I'm running the dig, whatever they look. Well, Beasley was a master at standing in his position in the slot and going, this is where the gap's going to be. And Josh was on the exact same page without them talking about it. Josh knew where Cole was going to be every single time. Agree or disagree, Jerry?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing about Beasley though, because at the end of last year, we were all complaining about Beasley too. Granted, but like it was every time he catches the ball, he's falling down. He's not getting the yards after catch. Of course, but who was complaining about? It was all. I mean, it was all over social media. Everyone was.
There were people complaining, but it's the way that they used Beasley began to change over the 3 years as well, which I complained to Spence about a ton because there was routes that he was running early his first year here that were like genius routes that nobody could cover, and then they stopped running them. But my point was just that. Even from a 3-yard standpoint, that was the run game for the Bills, and it was unstoppable, which caused all of the cover 2 guys. They couldn't play cover 2 Tampa 2 against us. They had to play a single high safety because Beasley was going to find that soft spot and beat you, right, Jerry?
Right. It's all choice routes. It's what New England beat our heads in with for the last 10 years or however many years. It was, the tight ends though did it there. 17. Tight end choice routes. It's Beasley could see the coverage. Josh read the coverage. They did it together. If the linebacker jumped you here, you were going there. If the linebacker played soft, you were going here. It was the same thing. They were able to be on the same page. They had that kind of chemistry. A lot of great receivers in the league, that's what they're doing. It's all choice route type stuff off of coverage and things of that nature. So he has not found that security blanket. I will admit that. I mean, he's got Diggs. He knows he can go to Diggs. He has not found that security blanket, that guy that no matter what, he can go to and make plays, which then what happens? The next guy I trust is who? Me, right? I'm going to have to make all the plays. And then we get into the situation like we have right now with the tremendous amount of red zone turnovers and things of that nature. So, that's why I say let him run the ball and make plays. I mean, that's what he wants to do. Let him do it.
Spence.
Well, and I agree with you, Jerry, there as far as letting him run the ball. But the thing is, you're right. He has Diggs, but then there's even moments if you're going to play against good defenses. So that Jets game, I know we don't like their offense is a mess right now. They're
right. Their
benching Zach
defense
Wilson.
is good.
Their defense is good. And if you look at the second half of that game, where was Stephon Diggs?
He was getting shut out by Sauce Gardner is what he was doing.
He was getting shut down. And what happened? Yeah. And I hesitate to say that publicly because he's such a great receiver. But the thing is, he really was. He was getting shut down. So the thing is, I get it. Everybody in the comments now is talking about yak, and they're talking about how now the team is yak. And the thing is, on third down, if it was 3rd and 9, Cole was getting you 11. I don't need yak in that situation. I need the first down. I need the drive to continue to go. And right now, we're not getting that. We're getting drops from Davis. We're getting negative plays from McKenzie. I was about to say something that Joe's mom would not have been proud of. So I'm proud of myself for correcting. But we're getting things that don't help the offense. So whereas in the red zone, we used to be a top 3 offense in the red zone. Now we're pretty much bottom 8. You know, we used to be last year and the year before, we were so many things. And I specifically point to Cole Beasley being the reason why the offense was able to continue to move the way they did. Diggs has always been Diggs, but you need a Cole Beasley type guy. Now, I know Big O and I talked about this last night. I'm hoping that Naheem Hines can kind of, like, Brandon Beane talked about it in his presser. Like, he can play in the slot, and he could play this, and he could play that. Let's see it, man. Let's see it. Okay, you got to figure it out in a way, hopefully, with James Cook and Singletary in the backfield. So, hell, we're short receivers, man. Like, let's figure the slot out.
We're embarrassingly short. And OBJ is another one of those guys. If you begin to put OBJ and Steph and move them in and out together where they get to run some of those choice routes. But you hit on a point that's not being talked about at all. So it's never one thing. When you've got an offense and talent as good as the Bills have, it's never like, oh, we took out one player. Guess what? Now you can't do anything. And it's no, we took out one player. So that guy that's smart and heady is thinking the way the quarterback's thinking is missing. The quarterback is no longer being used to run the ball. That's missing. And then the routes have changed. It's now about trying to get guys open to run after the catch. We heard about it. So there's a lot of things that have changed, and the offensive coordinator's changed. So it's not just one thing. It's several things, but the Beasley piece is, in my opinion, huge. Let's go ahead, Jerry.
I was just going to say the thing about Himes that helps the offense as well is if he is going to play slot, you can go ahead and leave the same personnel in the game and change formations, get them to the slot, move them backfield, and you can manipulate the defense that way by not taking players off the field and being able to hop into different sets with the same personnel. So that's something else they can utilize with him also.
Yeah, for sure. So also the injury report, shifting gears, moving on to the Lions game. Once again, something to behold as far as the injury report goes. Several big names are still on this injury report. Tremaine Edmonds is out. Greg Rousseau is out for this game. And then, there's obviously a conversation that we'll talk about in a second in regards to Mitch Morse. But the graphic that I want to show you is this one, which is that you've got all the injuries here. So out, Tremaine Edmonds, only one. Greg Rousseau out. Doubtful, AJ Epinesa. And then Mitch Morse, questionable. But this is as much as these players have played, it was great to see Jordan Poyer back. All pro Poe, re-up 21. The question is you come out of a game with a dual-headed monster in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and you're going right into a game with, Swift and with Williams. And they're not Chubb and Hunt, but they're not slouches. Now, I know where Spence is going, and that's effectively what we probably need to talk about. But when you think about those injuries, Tremaine Edmonds and Greg Rousseau missing, where are we at, Spence, as far as, defending this offense of the Lions?
Well, I was actually gonna give more credit to the Bills defense even without Tremaine and Epinesa, because I think when we're talking about Detroit, they do have a pretty good run game, but DeAndre Swift hasn't been what Swift should be, quote unquote, like what everybody expected Swift to be this season. He's not.
Right. And
then when you're talking about Williams, he's leading the league in touchdowns, which is amazing. I love him. He's on my fantasy team in like 3 leagues. Thank you, bro. Keep going. Just not tomorrow. I benched him tomorrow. For the record, he's benched. He is benched. But the thing is, he's great in the red zone. He's not like a league leader in yards as a rusher. He's not like, he has a decent season, but he's not, he's not that dude. So I think the Buffalo Bill, Matt Milano, man. First of all, can I say I agree with Jordan Phillips? Can I say that I agree with, and as much as I love Tremaine, and everybody knows about my love for Tremaine, I love you, Tremaine. Let me go ahead and throw this back up. I love you, but man, Matt Milano is definitely playing like the defensive player of the year. He was the defensive player of the week in the AFC this week, and he deserves his love. And everything he got a fumble recovery, like 4 tackles for loss this week. He basically did
two interceptions on the year, and he's gotten his hand on 5 balls. I made the statement as well that if he catches 3 of those 5 that he's got his hands on, and this continues for the rest of the year, you might be saying Matt Milano for MVP of the league. Like,
whoa.
Which game was it? Was it the Miami game? He had a pick that he dropped that would have probably
Tennessee, Miami,
yeah.
Several. But this past one,
I was about to go here. Shout out to Spin. I was about to go here. Milano, All Pro, or we riot. I'm about to make a new shirt. It's happening. Last year was Poyer. Shout out to my man Matt Milano. What's happening? Milano, All Pro, or we riot. Because the thing is, he's playing better football as a linebacker this year than name a better linebacker in the NFL.
There isn't one.
Like I want you to name one.
There isn't one.
So I can't go as far as MVP because it's a quarterback. It's a quarterback.
But none of the quarterbacks are exactly doing MVP things. So in a weak quarterback year, when you've got a linebacker that's,
I don't know, man.
He isn't there. He didn't.
Mahomes is doing it again. He's doing it again,
we'll
and he's doing it without Tyreek Hill. He's doing it without Tyreek Hill. And as much as I hate to say it, as much as that pains me to say it. He's doing it without Tyreek Hill.
This guy could make a statement for it.
Yeah,
sure.
Micah Parsons,
losing his mind in Dallas. Injured and losing his mind. Right.
I'll give you that. But I would still take Milano over him, and that's just me. So, I know he makes the flash plays, and I know Parsons. He's amazing. I'm not saying anything. I don't have anything negative to say about him.
Yeah.
I'm taking Milano because Milano plays very disciplined as well. Like there are things that he does that don't come across as big plays, but they're huge plays. If you watch the All-22, and I know Jerry does, and I know Sarah does, if you watch the All-22, there are plays that he makes where he'll make a tackle for a loss for 2, that if he doesn't make that, it's probably a touchdown.
Yeah.
Where it's like 40 yards of open field. Jordan made a similar play this week, but we're talking about Matt right now. Those are the type of plays where it's like they don't really get the praise for those moments. But dude, they make them so consistently week after week after week.
Yep.
Matt Milano, defensive player of the year, defensive player of the week in the AFC, All Pro, we riot. Let's get it. Matter of fact, the shirt's gonna drop next week. Damn it. Let's do
Sarah.
it.
So the question is, Sarah, getting back to DeAndre Swift and Williams, do the Bills do they have the capability to repeat what they did last week against Chubb and Kareem Hunt? And I know the easy answer is, well, we just did it to Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Of course we can. But that's not always that simple.
I mean, realistically, we did it to Cook as well, except for the one run that he had that was a missed tackle. And then we did it earlier in the year with Henry. So I definitely think we can do it. I know that Detroit's missing, I think, 2 or 3 people on their offensive line. So I think that helps us a little bit, knowing that we're going to be down Groot and down Edmonds. So I think that we can still control it. I believe that we're going to kind of focus on one or the other. It's going to be either focus on the run game or focus on the wide receivers. It's kind of what that's been our motto kind of this year. It's focus on one or the other. Never really thought that we would give Brissett 300 plus yards in the air, but it happened. But, we still held them under 80 yards rushing. So it's kind of pick and choose your poison. And I think that we'll continue to do that as well. They have a good offense.
Yeah, amazing segue that I want to.
They have a good offense, so we're gonna.
Yeah, that I want to ask Jerry about real quick. Full stop on this. So I love Triggs. Triggs has been around forever. Tyrell Bernard was not drafted to replace Matt Milano, who just signed an extension.
Or Tremaine. He wasn't.
If there was a conversation that you could maybe slightly possibly have, it would be about Tremaine's in his last year of his contract. I agree with you. But
no,
Matt Milano isn't afraid of Tyrell Bernard. Like, he's under contract for, is it 3 more years? He's under contract for 3 more years. Like, they're not walking away from Matt Milano's ridiculously cheap hometown discount. All of us shocked that he even signed that deal because he was worth so much more money. Like, it's just not happening. Jerry, the question I have is this, to Sarah's point. If you are the Browns offensive coordinator, you think going into the Buffalo Bills game that are displaced. They only practiced for one day. They had another walkthrough. All of their families are literally trapped in their homes. They're no longer at home. So they're experiencing the opposite of what I went through. I had to get home. They left home. The Bills have had trouble stopping the run on defense.
Yeah.
And you come out and you start throwing the football over the field with Jacoby Brissett, which to me was like, what are you doing? Is that the Lions' game plan this week? Did the Lions run from the run defense of the Buffalo Bills and try to put the game on Jared? Because to me, the Bills are like, oh no, let Jared Goff throw it. Go ahead.
No, I fully believe they're going to try to run the football, basically because of the lack of experience up front. Both guards, I think they're on their second and third team guards, as Sarah talked about. They're beat up offensive line wise. They're hand in the ground type linemen. They want to run the football first. These linemen aren't great pass blockers. Right now, the all-pro center's out. So they've got a couple of big road grader types of tackle, all-pro types. I see them running the football, trying to run the football, trying to make this a short football game, knowing that Edmonds is out. I agree with Spence. Edmonds is the heart and soul of that defense as far as up the middle, stopping the run, setting. And the thing that people miss on him, he is about as good of a tackler in the NFL as there is. When his hands get on you, you go to the ground. And that's a big time deal, especially with the way the way we're playing defense nowadays with limited linebackers, more safeties and things like that. So, yes, I fully agree with
I've stood next to Tremaine Edmonds. It's like an adult tackling toddlers. I mean, literally, his wingspan is just like a little bit.
And there's a lot of teams in the NFL trying to find Tremaine Edmonds. I mean, we had a guy at Tulsa named Zaven Collins who got picked 13th overall by the Cardinals. Spence knows who he is if he watches the news down there. Okay,
I know I'm a season ticket holder, and I'm not proud to say it. I'm not proud.
And Zaven is a big, tall, physical, long guy that runs. I think eventually he might end up playing outside backer in a 3-4 somewhere, but they're trying to find that big sideline to sideline middle linebacker. They're always looking for, we have him. Please don't let him go. Let's give him his contract. Let's let him stay because he makes us better with what they're trying to play on defense.
Can I interject here?
Absolutely.
Because Tremaine's my dude. So let me interject.
Is he really?
Wait, are you sure?
No, really.
You were a hater. Somebody told me you were a hater.
I love you, Tremaine. But listen, no, because seriously, the thing is, it gets tiring, like defending this dude, like where it's like, yo, people. Every week, Tremaine is horrible. He's the worst linebacker on the league. Like I hear this stuff every week, and it's like, okay, I don't want to come across as that guy. Like, well, if you don't understand football, because then that makes me look like the wrong guy. But in reality, like, look, y'all need to really understand what his job is. His job is not to be the flashy linebacker that sacks a guy 3 times a game and to get it. His job is he controls the defense. And he keeps those guys in their place, like the places that they're supposed to be. Tremaine is making sure that they're there. And then he cleans up the mess. Like that's his job. His job is not to be the main playmaker, but he makes plays at times, but he cleans up the mess. And if they get past Tremaine, then you have Jordan and Micah. That's how the Buffalo Bills defense is built. And Tremaine does his job very well. Like he does it very well. And look, I get it. This week we won't have him. Y'all do not want to see this offense with Bernard instead of Tremaine going for or defense. You know what I mean?
You understand what I'm saying as far as how the game is played now with defensive personnel. Back in the day, you had Shane Conlon, you had Chris Spielman, and those guys were tackle. You remember here I'm a tackle to tackle player. I'm going to make a play from tackle to tackle or tight end to tackle. Well, when you start adding receivers and we start going to nickel and dime, and now we're adding extra safeties, okay? Who's got to come out? We're not going to take any of the defensive linemen out. They're starting to pull linebackers out, right? So now you've got 2 guys. You've got Edmonds, who is a not tackle to tackle guy. He's a sideline to sideline guy, right? He can do all that. He's long. He bogs up the middle with one guy. Then you have Milano, who it's like the Werewolves of London song by Warren Zevon. His hair is perfect, right? He is, he's your guy that does all the other stuff, covers. Slasher type backer. So what teams are trying to do? Find me another linebacker that does is as good or better. I mean, the guy is a prototype for what they want nowadays.
You're muted, Spence.
See, I'm excited. I'm excited. One more comment, and then I'm done.
All right, are you sure?
No, I'm not. I'm lying. I'm completely lying here. I'm not done. But Jerry and when John and when we have professional athletes come on these shows, and these guys talk about how good Tremaine Edmonds is and what he does and how good he is at his job. I'm tired of arguing with people on Twitter about Tremaine Edmonds not being a valuable member of this football team. I am tired, and I'm not doing it no more. Jerry, Big O, John Fina. Everybody loves Lorenzo Alexander, right? I've had Lorenzo Alexander on the chop up tell me that. Come on, man. Like I'm tired, Joseph. I'm tired.
Yeah,
I think it's Sarah's job going to every game now that in the stands she has to start changing minds. And she's the campaign manager.
You it's all on me.
You gotta do it
for the pay.
Hey,
campaign.
I've been.
Go ahead, Sarah. What were you going to say? You've been what?
I think we may have lost.
No, I was going to say I've been on. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I've been on Tremaine's. I'm sorry. I've been on Tremaine's bandwagon for a while now, even before I heard everybody else. So I've been pushing for Tremaine, and I've been the one saying that he's probably the most important person to re-sign. Even over Poyer, I would like to have both, but I think Tremaine is
no,
wait
top. A minute now. No, wait a minute now.
I think Tremaine
well,
then
this
Poyer.
show just went 2 hours.
Yeah,
wait a minute.
He knows how I
feel.
feel.
Not going to go 2 hours.
He's about to rant about his other guy.
No, he's going
wait
to
a minute now. Okay.
Now, so please,
you wait a minute. Where's my hoodie?
Go ahead,
Where's my hoodie?
Ahead, Spence.
Wait a minute now.
Put your Thanos. Put your Thanos Poyer elbow brace on that you got.
My dog signed this from me and sent this to me. Okay.
Yeah. Here we go.
Always appreciate the love. This is what my guy said. Y'all need to understand who Jordan is. Is this guy? Are we not undefeated when Jordan Poyer is in the game for the Buffalo Bills? Are we not 1-3 when Jordan Poyer is not on the field? I need y'all to also understand. Y'all talking about, and I love Micah. So I'm not saying nothing negative about Micah, but y'all talking about Jordan's age. He's a freaking year younger than Micah. He's a year younger than Micah.
Yeah, but nobody said the same conversation about Jordan right now are going to happen next year about Micah. Just so you know, just so everybody's ready.
But Jordan's a year younger, so
Correct.
Maybe this conversation about him being old should happen a year later. Maybe. Okay. What I'm saying is, at this point, when I'm looking at this defense, and I know Big O and me disagreed last night on the code of conduct. What I'm saying is, we need to figure out a way to where Micah and Jordan retire together as Buffalo Bills in 2 years. Make their contracts the same for 2 extra years. Draft somebody that they can build up. You know what I mean? But all this talk about letting him go and talk about I done seen comments where people look. Jordan Poyer is one of the most important. Jerry, I love you, bro. Please don't do this to me, man. Please don't do this to me, Jerry. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
All I'm going to say is this: you don't pay new car prices for a 12-year-old vehicle. Okay.
Not in COVID. Not after COVID. You do.
Listen,
you don't.
Okay.
Listen.
Now look. How many? Here's all I'm saying. I love Poyer like you love Poyer. You gave me the difficult decision. Okay. You gave me. It's like you went to me and said, "Okay, Big O, you're baking a cake. You got milk, butter, and eggs. You got to take one of them away. What are you going to take away, right?" And that's what you gave me the equivalent of last night. You said you got Ed Oliver, you got Poyer, and you got Edmonds. Which one are you going to let walk? So all I did was act like our general manager and said, okay, I'm going to sit back and look at rate of return. Okay, if I'm going to pay somebody a lot of money, I'm going to pay a guy that is probably young, is probably going to be reliable, and is probably going to be on the field for most of the season. Correct? That's all I'm saying. I love Jordan Poyer. The problem I have with giving him a long-term contract at a ton of money is he just hasn't been on the field. I wish if he didn't have the injuries, yes, he would have been one of my 2. But you gave me a hard decision.
Yeah.
You know, I can't.
I was surprised that they.
And that's the way I look at it. I look at it financially.
Yeah, I was surprised that they restructured Hyde instead of. I was surprised they restructured Hyde instead of extending him along with Poyer and kind of making it work at the same time. Because I really thought that they would do it so that they could both retire together. You know, do an extra year for Hyde and do 2 for Poyer. So in 3 years' time that they could both retire at the same time, and they didn't do it, and I was surprised.
I'm gonna just tell y'all, I'm disappointed in you both, and I'm just I don't think I'm gonna talk to y'all for the rest of the week. But here's where I'm going with
All
this.
right, sounds good.
Jordan Poyer is an all-pro player, and it was last year. This is like last year. And then I just said, are we not undefeated when he plays? Are we not 1-3 when he doesn't? Like, it's a clear. I'm not even saying. I'm not going to tell y'all what Jordan's asking for, but I can promise you the Bills can afford it. That's what I'll say. He's not asking for a 4-year deal for $70 million. He's not asking for like top. He's not. He wants to retire a bill, and he doesn't even want to play another 5 years. That's not what he's talking about. So what I'm saying is, you keep this guy around, and it's not just because he's my guy. The dude, I don't even know how to express this. Let's move on.
I get it. I get your passion. I'm not even arguing that. I agree with everything you're saying. I'm just looking at.
And if I would have said Poyer over Edmonds, you'd be doing the same exact thing, and you would find a way to discredit that.
Because
they both deserve to.
I mean, they both deserve it, but when it was just said, and they was like, "Well, I'd rather keep Edmonds," and I was like, "Hold on," because honestly, as much as I love Tremaine is a great. Like, I recognize what he is to the team, but when Tremaine misses the game, Matt Milano, like this past Sunday, Matt Milano showed up in a big way and done. Same thing with Ed Oliver. When Ed Oliver misses games, Tim Settle and Daquan Jones, they do their job, and it's almost like, oh, he didn't play. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying this in a bad way, but when we miss Jordan, especially in the season where Micah Hyde is out for the season, especially in the year where he's out, when Jordan Poyer doesn't play.
Yeah, but listen, you literally just made your own argument against you. The argument against you is when Edmonds is out, Milano is there. When Oliver is out, Daquan Jones and Jordan Phillips and those guys are there. When Jordan's out, Micah's not there.
No, and I didn't make it against me. What I'm saying is when Micah's out and Jordan's out, we fall off.
Correct. And the same thing would be true with Edmonds. When we've seen Milano and Edmonds both gone, it's a problem.
No, right, when they're both gone. But what I said was, if I'm going to go in order, to me, it's Jordan, Tremaine, and then Ed. That's how I see it.
So where is Ed on his contract? Is he up to his 5th-year option yet?
He's on his 5th year, I believe.
This year.
So he's got his 5th-year option this year.
No, he's a free agent after this year.
Right. So they might not be able to afford him anyway. I mean, that's the other thing. If you're going to pay 2 of the 3, they might not be able to pay Edmonds and Oliver market value. So Poyer may stay just because of
Ed's 5th year next year. Ed's 5th year is next year. So Ed is
Poyer going to end up in Miami. That boy going to end up in Miami. Poyer's gone.
So we'll see. I mean, the Bills are doing magical things. Let's we're getting long in the tooth, and I know that we promised to go a little bit longer than an hour, which is fine. But how critical? And anybody can jump in on this one anywhere you want to run. So, or maybe we'll go to Sarah, the lovely Sarah first. How critical is it for the Bills to secure this win against the Lions and keep pace with the Dolphins and the Chiefs? Is this a situation where if you're going to drop a game, this is the game to drop? There's a lot against the Bills. They didn't practice last week, short week this week, so they barely practiced this week, got key injuries, blah, 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 blah. Or is this do or die? That's the question for the panel. Sarah, you get to go first.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's do or die. I would like to say that it's do or die. Our 3 games after that are do or die, and those are all the divisional games. But obviously, you want to go into those divisional games with the win. So, but we have Patriots, the Jets, and Miami all coming up right after. So, obviously, we'll want to keep the winning streak going. We want to stay pace. I would say more so right now with the Chiefs, because we can, we control our own destiny when it comes to the Dolphins and the Jets and the Patriots.
Yeah, for sure. Jerry.
Even with this being a short week, I'm going to actually kind of co-sign some of the stuff that you had talked about earlier, Joe and Spence and Sarah. When I look at this game, if this team is as good as we all think they are, they will go out tomorrow and handle business. Detroit is. I know this is Thanksgiving. I know it's a short week. I get all the stuff that goes with it, but this is a team that's banged up on the offensive line. Their defense is ranked 32nd in the league for a reason. Looking at them on the All-22 today, They run a 4-man front. It's a little bit like ours. Hutchinson stands up a lot like Von Miller does, but their defensive linemen play more of a 2-gap scheme than a slashing upfield scheme like we do. They kind of play their defense more like a 3-4, with Hutchinson almost being a hybrid D-end outside linebacker. A lot of this team plays a lot of single high safety because they're bringing a safety down to play the contain on Hutchinson's side, because Hutchinson they're allowing him to freelance a little bit, so they need a solid contain. They bring that safety down. So you're going to get a lot of man free, a lot of man coverage underneath one high, single high. So we should be able to beat some coverage and make some plays. If we're who we think we are, we shouldn't have any issues tomorrow. We should see some big plays out of our passing game, especially with our quarterback, because when you're playing a lot of man coverage, those corners and those safeties, their backs are turned to the line of scrimmage. So when the quarterback breaks out, they don't see what's going on. They got to listen to the oohs and ahs in the stands. So, no, I think we should take care of business. I expect a really solid game out of us. And if we struggle and we barely win and or we lose, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, the NFL literally wants the Buffalo Bills to be Maximus from Gladiator when he chucks the sword into the seats and looks around and goes, "Are you not entertained? Like, are you not entertained?" Let's look who the NFL wants the Bills to be on Thanksgiving. Spence, what you got?
I'm gonna let Sarah go because I'm
Sure went.
Well, I'm okay.
I already did.
I'm okay.
So you don't feel that this is a must win or not?
No, because I feel like we're giving the Dolphins too much credit, and I don't want to come across as a hater here. Like, I think, they're 7-3 just like the Bills, but when I look at the Dolphins, I still see that they have to go against the 49ers, who look like a Super Bowl contender out the NFC since the trade deadline. When I look at the Chargers, they have a healthy quarterback now who, so those two games aren't walk in the parks. I think the Jets have a great defense. I don't know what Mike White is going to be. I don't know who's going to be starting at quarterback then. I don't know. And they have to play us again. So what I'm saying is there's 4 games right there that I don't think that they're going to win. And I just think that we're giving them too much credit. The Chiefs, okay, that's a different kind. It's important for us to get first in the conference.
Yeah.
But I don't want to come across as that guy where it's like everything is negative. But when you lose games that we're not supposed to lose, the Jets, Miami, those 2 games we weren't supposed to lose. So now I'm bothered by that. I'm bothered because now you want to go on this run and you got to save your season when really, no, we should have saved the season against Miami. Yeah. Again, I was there, so I'm not going to say it's no excuse, but bro, that weather was different.
Stifling.
Yeah, I can't blame them. But the Jets,
I'm with you, and I love that take. I'm glad you said it. And the only thing I would say is, being the number 2 seed or the number 3 seed, to me, this team just getting in is the most important thing, because as much as home field advantage through the playoffs in Buffalo, to me, sounds like a sure bet to get to the Super Bowl, this is a really good road team. For the last 3 years, they've been a really good road team, and the Bills in the playoffs on the road doesn't scare me that much. Do I want to go to Kansas City again? No. But do I think the Bills can beat Kansas City in Kansas City with that crowd? Yes. They've done it, right? I mean, it's just one of those things.
Not
in the playoffs, right? But they've done it.
Well,
so I mean,
but see, the playoffs is a completely
we're undefeated at home in the playoffs, and we're defeated.
And I understand they didn't beat them playoffs, but damn, man. For the 13-second deal, and I'm not going to go back to shoulda, coulda, woulda, but whoever decided to play 12 to 15 yards off the best tight end in football, I mean,
excuse me, Jerry, I believe at the Kansas City game that we just went to, you texted me and said those guys are paid too, Joe, when the Bills gave up a field goal on 14 seconds.
Yeah, they are. But what I'm saying is, I wasn't even talking about that. I was talking about the cushion they gave Kelsey to catch the ball to be able to kick the field goal. But
no. Real quick. Let's do before we pivot, because this is a collab show and we've talked all about. This has been a phenomenal conversation. And we've been all over the place, and it's been a blast. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. But
Spence's heart rate got up today. That's good.
But lucky I don't have my Apple Watch on. Y'all lucky. They would be sending 911 to the house right now. Right now.
But this is a collab show, and we do want to talk a little bit of college football before we get out of here. So let's real quick just go around the horn, give a quick game prediction and Josh Allen's stat line, and then we'll talk some college football, of which I will gladly step sort of to the side. Because I don't know that much about college football. Jay Spence, game prediction, Josh Allen stat line.
First of all, shout out to LSU. We're going to go. Josh Allen is going to have I think this is the game where Josh Allen comes back and he's like, you know what? Y'all thought, back what's the Mike Jones song? Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me. He about to show y'all he the dude. Like, he about to step up again and like, look, I know I had a couple rough weeks. Y'all thought it was what it was. I'm about to show y'all that I am JA17. Like, that's the dude that I am, and y'all gonna respect it. I think Josh Allen gonna have 3 touchdowns passing in the air, 1 on the ground. I think we also gonna have a rushing touchdown. We gonna blow this team out. It's not gonna be close. It's not gonna be close. Josh Allen on Thanksgiving shows out and he shows up and he likes to have fun. And not even just Thanksgiving, prime time. He has fun. He about to make this thing. It's about to be ugly for Detroit. And Sarah's going to have a good time out there.
Score.
I'm going to go. We going to give Tyler Bass some love here. So we're going to go 46 because he's going to have 2 field goals. Wow. You heard me. 46-14.
It got quiet in this room.
Wow.
Sarah.
All right. My score prediction.
Just end the show, right?
I know. I don't even know I don't know how to beat that one.
When it happened.
41-20 has been mine. Yeah, 41-20 for my score prediction, and I think Josh 41-20, and I think Josh will have a 325-ish in the air.
But wait a minute.
And I'd like to see both running backs.
Well, y'all didn't have the same reaction for Sarah with the 41-20. It's basically the same score.
I'm literally in my head. I'm going 240 burgers because I'm formulating my comment.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Sarah. I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
41-20.
The voice is calculated.
That was my prediction last night when I was on a pod. So 41-20, I'm going to stick with it. 325 in the air, and I'm hoping that both Singletary and Cook can both have 75 plus again each.
Jerry O.
37-17. Every time I think about 37-17, the Bears. Josh Allen's going to run for 2,000 yards. No, I got 37-17. I think Josh Allen has under 300 yards passing because almost 100 yards rushing. We finally wake up and decide to let the stallion be a stallion, right? You can't make him something he's not. I think he takes it over. I think they play well. I think the defense takes advantage of a very, very undermanned Detroit offensive line and gets Goff off of his spot and has a day. I think we'll sack the quarterback at least 3 times, maybe. I think we'll get almost 5 sacks this weekend, maybe more. So that's the over-under on sacks is 5.
240 burgers, an almost 40 burger. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not predicting a 40 burger or an almost 40 burger. But if it happens, the Overreaction postgame show tomorrow night is going to be lit. And I'm going to be talking about Wildest Dreams Land and T-shirts that are now for sale from Buff on Weck. Go get now. Go get your Wildest Dreams Land T-shirt right now on buffonweck.com. Like legit. Go ahead.
Does McKenna approve of you saying lit on your show? I just need to know that.
I can say whatever I want. I'm wearing Carhartt. Like I'm a free agent on my hat. I can do whatever I want to do. Right, my face over my shoulder.
We got to get Hump Day hats.
We got to get gear, man. We got to get geared up.
My mind.
I mean, Hump Day hats would be. I know it. That's what I'm saying. We got to.
Anyways, I'm going to go a little more conservative on my game prediction. So I think Josh Allen is probably in that 280 to 300, 295, 280 to 300 range. I think he's got a couple touchdowns. I would love to see him rush for a touchdown just to burst that bubble because it's been a minute since it's happened. And then for a score, I'm probably in the 32 range, 31, 32 to probably 17. 20, somewhere around there for me, but that's exciting, and I can't wait for this football game, and I'm looking forward to the post-game show, which is tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, not 8, because it's family time, and that'll give everybody time to settle in, people to relax, get home, husbands, whatever, can go to their respective areas of the house and watch my show. But yes,
I feel like you should do a joint. Like, I feel like you should let people call in. I know it's not
tomorrow.
Yeah, because I want to call in is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like you should let me call in because it's going to be a game that I will want to talk about, but I don't have a show, and I'm sad. But before we move on, because I know we're about to talk about college, and we're going to talk about all that, I do want everybody to understand the entire panel just called it a blowout.
Yeah.
Not the same way. Me and Sarah got a 40 burger, but everybody called a blowout. So I need you to understand what we need to happen tomorrow is this team to play like the team that we know them to be.
Yeah, for sure.
If they don't play, if Josh is in his head, which is what Jerry yelled up at me about yesterday, and at the beginning of the show, he's like, "Are you kidding me, Spence? We're 7-3." I mean, yeah, because we're in our look. We need them to play the way they're supposed to play. Go Bills. Let's get it. College. Let's go. LSU.
Talking big matchups in college, college rankings with Jerry and Sarah rather from the 3-man rush, because this is what you guys do. You are a college football show. It's been fun watching you guys kind of look. Oh, and they take the top spots. So I'm just gonna hand it. I'm gonna hand it up. So if you guys would like to kind of take over the show for the next couple minutes, that'd be awesome.
Go on, Sarah. You can take it.
Yeah. All right. So the college football committee just came out last night. We have our top 4, which hasn't changed at all at this point in time. We got Georgia at 1. We got Ohio State University at 2. We got Michigan at 3 and TCU at 4. LSU moved up to 5, and then at 6 we have USC, which to me was kind of the biggest surprise. I kind of thought USC would jump over LSU. I see Spence rolling his eyes right now.
Well, I want to hear Spence, and I'm an LSU fan. I want to hear Spence try to convince me why the hell they should be in the top 4. I'm dying to hear this one with 2 losses.
I mean, no, I'll let you finish. Go ahead. I'm gonna get it. Trust me, I'm gonna get it. Go ahead.
I can't wait to hear.
Finish your rundown. Right. I'm gonna get it.
No, so basically, that was kind of my surprise this week. I really thought that USC, they've only lost 1 game, and it was by 1 point. I thought they were going to jump into that kind of 5th spot. This week coming up, we got Ohio State going against Michigan, so that's going to shake up some stuff in the top 4 right now. And TCU has pretty much an easy game this week, but then they have their championship game, so we probably should see that shake up as well. And then the SEC in 2 weeks will have their championship game, which will be Georgia against LSU. So that will be an interesting shakeup there. So LSU does have a chance if they find a way to figure out how to beat Georgia. They do have a chance to get in even with their losses. But Jerry, what do you think about this week's selections, and how do you feel about LSU at 5?
Well, I think we see a lot of what we're looking at right now is style points, right? I mean, every year the selection committee has something that there's an emphasis on, okay? Well, and when I say style points, I mean more along the lines of strength of schedule. If you look at this, you can't take a team like a TCU that's 11-0 and take them out of the top 4, okay? They control their own destiny. They went out, they win their conference championship, they are in the Final 4. It's just the way it goes. But if you look at LSU sitting at 5, they will go ahead and honor a SEC team, okay, over a Southern California team that's 10-1. And look where Clemson is. They're at 8 at 10-1, and Alabama above them. So to me, this is a selection committee that takes big time consideration into not only strength of schedule, but also where you are conference wise. Spence, I just think you sit back, sip your crown, and wait, because they're going to try to get 3 SEC teams in this Final 4. And, LSU, again, they're going to have a chance to control their own destiny. They're going to get to play Georgia. If you can beat them, then come on, maybe you're in. But right now, they don't deserve to be in that 4.
Well, see, my thing is when we talk about LSU, it's like I get that they started off a little bit slow. Like they had a couple losses early in the season that one you probably feel like they shouldn't have had. I get that. But I feel like, when you're talking about where teams are now, they're playing big and they're I don't know. I just feel like they're playing in a way where you shouldn't be able to deny them based on what happened early. If they're good now, I want the best when it comes to the playoffs, when it comes to the championship. I want the best football possible. I don't want, you lost a game in September, so you shouldn't play in January. I don't want to hear that. I want the best possible football. And to me right now, LSU is playing the best doggone possible football possible. And shout out to my man Trey White. I know he ain't back yet. Some Bills fans are a little annoyed about that, but Trey would probably slap me twice if I didn't really hype our boys with the LSU Tigers.
Right, and I'm an LSU Tigers fan. I mean, I love LSU
and Reed Ferguson.
Shout
out to Reed. Yeah,
exactly. But when I look at it, don't schedule a basically a non-conference game that might as well be a bye week at the end of your schedule. I mean, they go ahead and they went and played UAB last week. I'm not saying UAB is a terrible program, but as far as what they've been playing, yes, they're not up to snuff. So don't play those types of games late in the season. But that's how the SEC schedule falls. That's what they've done all the time. It's the late in the season non-conference game, and I think that kills them.
Yeah. Yeah, they also 2 weeks ago just barely, snuck out a win against Arkansas. So I'm still not quite on that hype train with LSU. If they beat Georgia, then I will change my tune. But right now, I can't wait for this weekend's games. It's rivalry week, so it's a big deal. We have a lot of big games coming up. Biggest game will be Ohio State against Michigan.
Do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about the college Super Bowl that is every year, OSU versus Michigan, and this year 2 versus 3, 11-0.
Are we going to wait? Are we going to be vain? Are we going to be vain and say it's the Super Bowl? Let's not.
For college,
they're not even
football,
the best team.
Okay,
no, but they're not even the best teams.
Dude, college coaches at OSU and Michigan get fired for not beating the other team. This is
it also happens. It also happens in the Iron Bowl, Joe. I mean, if you go ahead and you look at Bill Curry at Alabama, to this day has either the highest or one of the highest win percentages in the history of the school, but couldn't beat Auburn. So he's out of a job. But no, and
Alabama and Auburn play.
Yep, Alabama and Auburn play. We had Bedlam last week, Oklahoma State. But no, Michigan at Ohio State, noon on Saturday, a huge game. I think most of us been waiting for it. This is the game where the first time in his history as the head coach of Michigan that Jim Harbaugh comes in 11-0, and we're looking at this is the game, okay, for Michigan. If they can win this game, I think this solidifies Harbaugh's legacy at Michigan. If they lose, well, we're back to they never were really that good anyway.
And the question is, does he get fired? Because he has survived longer than any other Michigan coach that has not beaten OSU. Right?
They beat him last year, right?
Yeah, they beat him. That's what I'm saying. It took him until last year to beat OSU. So I think he went 4 straight years, 5 years without beating OSU, which is not normal. Head coaches have gone for much less than that.
But Michigan is the anomaly. They've been so poor for so many years that they've given Harbaugh whatever he wants just because of the way that they've won. But no, you're right, Joe. That is definitely a possibility.
Yeah. Sarah?
I don't think Michigan is good as their 11-0 record, and I've been saying that since the beginning of the year. All of them,
TCU
like and Michigan and Ohio State, they've kind of they've snuck in these victories towards the end of the year. But with me, I'm looking at Michigan and Ohio State this weekend. I don't even want to do a prediction unless I know if Quorum's going to be playing, but I'm going to think that he's playing and say that it's going to remain close, but I still think Ohio State at home is going to pull out the victory. So I have 31-23. I have 31-23 as my final prediction. Jerry, what do you got?
I think you're looking at potentially, this is a game where if you're a draft geek, you get to watch potentially the number 1 pick in the NFL draft next year play, and that is CJ Stroud. Number 1 in passing efficiency in the United States or in the country, leads in passing touchdowns with 35, enters the Michigan game with 2,991 passing yards, top 5 rankings in 5 different statistical categories. TDs, he's first, passing efficiency first, yards per attempt first, completion of 30-plus yards, he's first, yards per completion, he's third. I mean, the guy is everything, and he
doesn't look like an NFL quarterback.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of guys right now playing the league that don't look like what you would think NFL quarterbacks would look like, but they're playing. And it's the way the game's going, because if you can't figure out how to utilize them in your offense, you're going to be behind the 8 ball, because this is what you're getting now.
Yeah,
okay. All the programs are doing it.
It's just wild to me. This is Troy Smith. This is Terrell Pryor. This is all these guys over. But the Buckeyes never put out a great quarter. So my wife went to OSU, graduated from, and both my girls were born at OSU Hospital. I'm not really a Buckeyes fan. I've got a rooting interest, kind of, sort of. But for me, this is another Marcus Mariota. This is another Jameis Winston, where in college I watch him play. They don't look like Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck, when you watched Andrew Luck at Stanford, you were like, that dude can play. These guys, you're just like, Well, okay, right.
I mean, I watch C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud can play. I think he's a hell of a quarterback. Now,
I feel like Joe's a hater.
I was told the same thing about Justin Fields. I was told the same thing last year. I literally, Bruce Nolan and Greg Thompson both. I was like, I don't get the Justin Fields love, and they're like, you're crazy, man. This kid's going to be this and that, and he was that and this and blah 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 blah. My sister, who's also a Buckeye fan.
It's all right. So we got Jamie mad at Joe, and we got Darrell mad at me. So we're good. So sorry, Darrell. Sorry.
Somebody mad at
would not
everybody.
have. I don't know if I'd have played Fields. Fields had to play because of the situation in Chicago. He needed to sit for a year or two.
But they don't, Jerry. They never do.
Right. Well, some don't, some do. I think C.J. Stroud is a star. I really do. The Grinch.
we'll see. I didn't mean to interrupt the flow. I'm sorry. I just
you haven't interrupted the flow. I mean, it's obvious you don't like Ohio State.
Yeah, you just got a bad Ohio State.
If I'm rooting for a college football team, I'm rooting for the Buckeyes. Like
you're just a hater. No, you're just a hater. It's okay.
I lived in Columbus for 13
all right.
years.
I mean, you know,
is a Buckeye fan. Which
friend groups all have somebody like that. It's okay, Joe. We accept you. We still love you.
I think at this point we're used to Joe being a hater. That's all.
Oh no.
So
right,
no,
guys.
I think it's
the next game we got is sorry, I'm at a little bit of a delay. The next game we got is number 9 Oregon at number 21 Oregon State. I have it's at Oregon State. I have the score is 27-24, keeping it within the 3-point spread at this point in time. Oregon's got the offense. Oregon State's got the defense. Jerry, what do you think?
The only thing that I like about Oregon State is, has anybody ever been to Corvallis? I mean, it's kind of like where you get, you know, those shows where you get sent to a faraway prison camp where you get forgotten about. Corvallis is in the middle of nowhere, man. It's like it's lousy. I ride with Oregon and their offense in this game. I think you can't go away from Bo Nix. He's doing way too much. Oregon, a top 10 ranked offense in the country.
Yep.
I like Oregon in this game as well.
One of the best quarterbacks. Yep.
But I don't think he does.
Right. And then the third,
I don't think he does. I don't think he does correlate to the NFL. I don't agree with him, but I do like CJ Stroud.
Oh, you don't think Nix correlates?
No.
Nix or Stroud?
I think Stroud does. I don't think Nix does.
All right.
Wow.
All right. Okay. All right. So then the third game we wanted to touch on is number 6 USC at number 15 Notre Dame. I actually think this is going to be a more interesting game than the Michigan Ohio State one. I'm excited to see what USC can do because they have no defense whatsoever. So it'll be interesting to see how they hold up against Notre Dame. If they come and actually have a good game, then they should, jump over LSU and make it into the playoffs, because either Ohio State or Michigan should fall out with their loss. So I have right now 34-28 USC. What's your opinion on that one, Jerry?
I so want, and I'm not a Notre Dame fan. This Spence and I talked about this last night. I hate the Steelers, but I love Mike Tomlin. Okay, I think Mike Tomlin's the best coach in the league. I hate Notre Dame with a passion, but I think Marcus Freeman is one of the best young football coaches in the country, and I think eventually you'll see him coaching in the NFL. Tremendous head coach. Loved the hire by the Fighting Irish when they hired him, a former defense coordinator at Cincinnati. But you look at USC and another. If you want to watch this game, another potential or will be a top 5 NFL draft pick in this game, and Caleb Williams, the transfer from Oklahoma that's now at USC, tremendous quarterback. He has that feel already. Joe, watch him play, and I think everything you don't like about CJ Stroud, you'll see in Caleb Williams, and you'll like. He is much more polished as far as, I think, just the way he handles himself on the field, and some of the throws he makes are tremendous. But another huge offensive team, ranked 6th in the nation. They're 4th in the nation in passing offense, 330.8 yards a game. Lincoln Riley can coach offense with anybody in the world, but he can't coach defense. And, that's where I think that Notre Dame has a chance to ugly it up and do what Notre Dame does, which is run the football, play physical, and hopefully get some turnovers, get USC frustrated and pull one out. Again, like I said, not a Notre Dame fan, but hopefully they win this football game. And but I'm still going to have to go with USC. I think they're just too much for them offensively.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah. All right. And then quickly, I just wanted to point out Clemson kind of controls their own destiny. They play South Carolina. South Carolina won last week against Tennessee, so it'll be a very interesting game. Clemson is 10-1, I believe, at this point, and they're going into the ACC championship. So there's a potential that they can kind of control their own destiny. And then also another interesting game will be LSU at Texas A&M. So Texas A&M has not showed up at all this year. They've played a very terrible season under Jimbo, but I think that it's at Texas A&M, so there's a good opportunity that LSU could have some struggles, and we'll really see what they're made of against that team. But other than that, we usually kind of round off with Syracuse and the Buffalo Bulls, and just kind of wanted to say that Syracuse has their last game coming up. They're going to be at Boston College, so hopefully they can pull out a victory before heading into their bowl game.
This dude, he's
And
like Carrot Top, man.
The Bulls,
he's like Carrot Top. He got props everywhere.
Yeah. The Bulls, their last game, they actually had it canceled because of the weather. So that game will only happen if it's absolutely needed. But they head this week against Kent State. So it's their final game. They need it. They need to win in order to become bowl eligible. So we didn't want to talk too much about them this week, and let's see where we go with them being a bowl eligible starting next week.
Super, super good. Well, great job, everybody. That was I'm swimming a little bit because it's more than I know about college football. So that was really freaking awesome. And I'm
proud of you guys. I'm proud of you guys. You actually you paid attention, and your eye contact was there. You weren't on your phone or anything. It was very good, man. I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
I tried to pay attention and like really give you guys all the support you needed, because it was tempting. I was like, let me go and search Twitter or something, because I don't know nothing about college.
Yeah, that was a mere shot at the surface of what we normally get into.
Yes.
We get into quite a bit on that hour show, and if you like college football, we get after it.
And I would like to say, first of all, like I just joked there, but if you're into college at all, you want to watch the 3-man rush. It's probably not going to have a name change. It's going to be 3-man rush. You're going to want to watch this show because both Jerry and Sarah and the third member that we bring in are going to be well-versed in everything that you want to know. If you're looking for, some of us are bettors. Some of us like to spend some money. So you're going to want to listen to them about who's going to win and who's not going to win. You're going to want to listen to a lot of different things. And then also outside of that, they just have good, like they really, really cover a lot of things. I learned a lot this year over the last 3 games already, or 3 weeks that they've already done the show. So please tune into the 3-man rush. Jerry has something coming soon where he's going to be talking about the NFL overall. It's just not going to be about the Buffalo Bills. He's going to talk about every game. He's going to break down every single thing every single week. I need y'all to check in. So just understand, Buffalo Rumblings has something special happening, and we got a lot of things. We got a Buffalo Bills player that probably will be on board. Like it's about to happen. I ain't want to make that announcement, but I kind of just made the announcement. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what I'm saying is we got things happening, and Buffalo Rumblings is doing things to change and grow, and we want to make sure we continue to bring y'all the best content possible. So check in with Joe, check in with me, check in with Jerry, Sarah, Bruce. I mean, we got a whole lineup of awesome talent. So just continue to check in with us.
So with that, let's get out of here.
Stop hating, Daryl.
Joe's the hater.
So with that, Jerry, tell everybody where they can find you, Jerry.
I just want you to know it's okay, Joe. We still love you, man. Like I said, we all have that one guy. At Ostroski _Big O's, where you can find me on Twitter. I don't believe in Facebook. I think it's going to end the world one day. And I am on Instagram as well. So if I could remember that, I'm too old to remember it. I'll give it next time. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I'm active on there. So
awesome, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Sara _Larson. I'm on Facebook at Sarah C. Larson, if you find me. And then I also have Buffalo Bills Stampede, which is our Facebook page on Facebook.
Awesome. JSpenceTheKing.
Hey, it's me and Joe every week. Come back and check us out next week. We got another Thursday game next week, and we're going to probably do something else special next week. But check me and Joe out. Join the Code of Conduct. I got my girl Liv Moody joining me next week from FanDuel. It's going to be a great show. I can't wait to hang with her and kick it with her. Joe, what you got?
I'm on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. But ladies and gentlemen, you have been tuned into the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Rumblings vidcast network presented by Picasso's Pizza. For myself.
Wait. Buffalo, they've been tuning into the Hump Day Hotline and the three-man rush. It's a mashup. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Literally, it's a habit. It's like I just have this thing in my brain, and it just comes.
You're a machine, dude. You're a machine.
I'm gonna try it again. 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been tuned into the Hump Day Hotline and the three-man rush on the Buffalo Rumblings vidcast network presented by Picasso's Pizza. My name is Joe Miller, host of this show. JSpenceTheKing co-host, and then from three-man rush, Big O, Jerry Ostroski and Sara Larson. For me, for Jay Spence, for Jerry, for Sarah, for everybody at Buffalo Rumblings, happy Thanksgiving. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.